I never thought a single sentence could sting so much, but I'll never forget the night she looked me in the eyes and said, "You were just a stepping stone." It hit me like a punch to the chest. You know that kind of pain that doesn't make you cry at first, it just makes you numb? That was me, standing there, pretending her words didn't matter, when deep down, they cut right through me. I guess I should back up a little. My name's Daniel, and if there's one thing I've always believed in, it's love. Real love. The kind where you give your best to someone, not because you have to, but because you want to. That's what I thought I had with her. That's what I thought we were building together. But here's the thing about trust. You don't notice how fragile it is until it shatters. When we first met, she made me feel like I was the only guy in the world who truly understood her. We'd stay up late talking about our dreams, our fears, even the stuff we never told anyone else. I thought those moments meant something. I thought they were the foundation of forever. Turns out, I was wrong. She didn't see me as her partner. She saw me as her shortcut, a temporary boost until she found what she really wanted. And once she did, I became disposable. But here's the twist life threw at me. It wasn't the end of my story. Not even close. Because just when I thought I was broken beyond repair, someone else stepped in, someone who wasn't supposed to. And this someone, she didn't see me as a stepping stone. She called me something I didn't even realize I was desperate to hear. She called me her rock. But before I tell you who she was, and why her words would turn my whole world upside down, you need to know the truth about how it all started. Because what happened between me and her sister wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about betrayal. It was about choices. And it was about a love triangle I never saw coming. The night she told me I was just a stepping stone wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of something even more complicated. And trust me, you're not ready for what happened next. I kept replaying her words in my head. You were just a stepping stone. The more I thought about it, the more it burned. I had poured everything into her, my time, my patience, my heart, and she brushed it all off like it was nothing. At first, I told myself she didn't mean it, that maybe it slipped out in anger. But deep down, I knew. She had always been chasing something bigger, some lifestyle, some image, and I was just the guy holding the ladder while she climbed higher. The nights got heavier after that. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if every "I love you" she whispered was a lie. And the worst part? I still wanted to believe her. I still wanted to believe we had something real, even as the evidence piled up in front of me. Then came the moment that made everything clear. We were supposed to meet up one evening. She told me she was busy with work, but my gut told me something was off. I don't know why I drove past that little cafe downtown, but when I did, there she was. Not alone. Sitting across from another guy, laughing the way she used to laugh with me. Her hand resting just a little too comfortably on his. I froze. My chest felt tight, like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I couldn't even confront her right then. I just drove away. My mind was spinning. Was this the real her? Was everything between us a setup? That night, I finally let the anger sink in. I was done being her stepping stone. But the story didn't end with me walking away. Because just as I was breaking, someone else walked into my life. Someone who shouldn't have. And when I tell you who it was, you'll understand why things got so messy. Because the person who picked me up from my lowest point was her sister. And that's when the real conflict began. When her sister first reached out to me, I thought it was just out of pity. Maybe she felt bad for how things ended between us. But from the very first conversation, I realized this was different. She didn't look at me with judgment. She didn't talk to me like I was broken. She just listened. It started with small things. A quick text to check in. A call late at night when she knew I couldn't sleep. She'd say things like, "You don't deserve what she did to you." And for the first time in weeks, I felt like someone was on my side. But then, it went deeper. She began to share things I never expected. Things about her sister that made me question everything. Little cracks in the image I thought I knew. She told me secrets about how long the lies had been going on, about the way her sister used people, stepping on them just to get what she wanted. Each word hit me like a new betrayal. But here's the catch. Every time she peeled back another layer of truth, I felt myself getting closer to her. Closer in ways I shouldn't have. The guilt was eating at me, but the connection was undeniable. She wasn't just comforting me. She was showing me a kind of honesty and care I had never gotten before. Her laugh didn't feel rehearsed. Her words didn't feel heavy with hidden intentions. She made me feel steady, like I could stand again. That's when she said it. "You're not a stepping stone to me," she whispered one night. You're a rock. My rock. Those words shook me to my core. They weren't just comforting, they were dangerous. Because as soon as she said them, I realized something I wasn't ready to face. This wasn't just friendship anymore. But here's the problem. Every moment with her pulled me in deeper, but it also dragged me closer to something explosive. Because what we were building wasn't just between the two of us. It was a ticking time bomb waiting for her sister to find out. And if she ever did, everything would come crashing down. One night, it almost did. We were sitting in her car, parked just a few blocks away from her house. The windows fogged up from our breath, the silence thick with everything we wanted to say but couldn't. My heart was pounding out of my chest, and just as I leaned closer, headlights swept across the car. A figure stepped out, and in that instant, I realized it was her. Her sister. The second her sister's face appeared in the glow of the headlights, my stomach dropped. I thought this was it, the moment everything would explode. But instead of rage, there was something else in her eyes. Something I didn't recognize. She didn't scream. She didn't accuse. She just stared at her own sister. And then, almost in a whisper, she said words I'll never forget. So, it's true. You took him too. Her voice cracked, and that's when the real twist hit me. This wasn't just about betrayal between me and her. This was about years of rivalry, sisters who had been tearing each other down long before I ever came into the picture. I wasn't just caught between two women. I was caught in the middle of a war that had been going on their whole lives. And now, I wasn't sure if I was the prize, or just another weapon they were using against each other. But before I could even process it, she pulled out her phone. Her thumb hovered over the screen, her face twisting with anger and hurt. And with one cold sentence, she raised the stakes higher than ever. I'm telling Dad. The air inside that car turned suffocating the second she said, I'm telling Dad. My heart pounded so loud, I could barely hear my own thoughts. Her sister's hand gripped the steering wheel, frozen, while I sat in the middle of a storm I didn't belong in, but couldn't escape. Wait, I finally blurted, my voice trembling. This isn't what you think, but it was. We all knew it. Her sister laughed, but it wasn't the kind of laugh you'd expect. It was broken, bitter. Do you even know what you've done? She said, her eyes darting between us. All my life, she's stolen from me. My friends, my chances, my dreams. And now you. I looked at the girl beside me, the one who'd called me her rock. She was shaking, but her voice was steady. I didn't steal him. He came to me when you threw him away. That's when it snapped. Years of buried resentment erupted right there in the street. They weren't just fighting over me. They were ripping open scars that had been bleeding long before I ever showed up. And then came the twist. Their father's car pulled up. He stepped out, his face hard as stone. But instead of looking at his daughters, his eyes locked onto me. You, he said sharply. Get out. The silence was deafening. Both sisters froze. He walked closer, his jaw clenched, and in a low, cold voice, he dropped the bombshell neither of them expected. This isn't about them. It's about you. You don't belong here, not after what you did. My chest tightened. My stomach flipped. Because in that instant, I realized he knew something. Something I thought I'd buried. And just like that, the real truth was about to surface. The moment her father's words cut through the night, I felt my chest tighten. My secret, the one I thought I'd buried, was standing there in front of me, waiting to be exposed. Both sisters turned to me, their anger suddenly replaced by confusion. What does he mean? One asked. I swallowed hard. I didn't want it to come out this way. Not here, not now. But maybe it was time. I wasn't honest. I admitted, my voice low. When I first met her, your sister, I wasn't looking for love. I was looking for escape. My life was a mess. I thought if I could make someone else happy, maybe I'd forget how unhappy I was with myself. Their father's glare softened slightly, but the weight of the truth still hung heavy. You can't build love on broken foundations, he said quietly. And in that moment, it all clicked for me. He wasn't angry just because of the drama between us. He was angry because he saw himself in me, a man who had once made the same mistakes. The sisters stayed silent, their rivalry simmering beneath the surface. For once, it wasn't about me. It was about them, about years of tension that had finally spilled over. I stepped back. I don't want to be the reason you two destroy each other. I cared about both of you in different ways, but I can't be the wedge anymore. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, surprisingly, the younger sister, the one who'd called me her rock, took a deep breath. Maybe this isn't about him. Maybe it never was. Maybe it's about us." Her sister's eyes filled with tears, and for the first time, I saw a crack in her armor. "You've always thought I was against you," she whispered. "But the truth is, I was just afraid you'd outshine me." The air shifted. The anger gave way to something softer, something fragile. They weren't healed in an instant, but for the first time, it felt like they might try. As for me, I knew my part in their story had to end here. I wasn't their rock or their stepping stone. I was just a reminder, a mirror that reflected what needed to be faced. When I walked away that night, I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt free, because sometimes the closure we're searching for doesn't come from holding on. It comes from finally letting go. And if there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's that love isn't about being someone's escape or their weapon in a fight. It's about being chosen freely and wholeheartedly. I wasn't chosen this time. But maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what I needed.